Dance with me.
Welcome to Read My Lips Radio, a lively hour of unscripted conversations with savvy creatives. Producer and host, aka RadioRed, asks novelists, artists, photographers, designers, comedians, actors, musicians, composers, screenwriters, directors, and technology innovators about their creative passion, inspirational muses, and how they create. Ooh, how those lips can talk. Now, here's aka RadioRed.
Thank you to the voice who introduces me. I'm RadioRed. I'm here. It is Monday. Where else would I be? In my favorite corner of the world called The Creativity Show. Read My Lips with me, aka RadioRed. Cool conversations, bold ideas, real creativity, and real people too. I haven't had any AI bots on the show yet. No, I'm happy to have you all here. It's Monday, March 23rd. My goodness gracious. And let's just see what's going on. Today is the beginning of Aries. Anybody in my group here today? Any panelists born in Aries? That's between March 21st and April 19th. Anybody? It just started. Ellie or Ariel or no? Beth?
No.
Nobody? Okay, I'm a Libra. What sign are you? Ellie, what sign are you?
I'm a Scorpio.
Oh, okay. Ariel?
I'm Cancer.
Oh,
But Aries rising.
there. I'm glad it's rising. And Beth, what sign are you?
I'm a Leo.
Oh my, well, boy, do we have representation here today. Okay, well, just in case you were Aries, it's a fire cardinal represented by the ram and their heart is fire. We will just leave that alone. Couple of quick notes here. Some famous people are having a birthday today. Kerry Russell, the actress, is 50. What? Shaka Khan, the queen of funk? She's 73. I know. Maren Hinkle, who was Judith on Two and a Half Men, she's 60. And Catherine Keener, you may know her from the 40-Year-Old Virgin. She played Trish. It's Puppy Day. It's Chip and Dip Day. It's Tamale Day. That's a lot of different things to eat. It's Melba Toast Day. It's Chia Day. That's the seeds. And it's Shakespeare Week starts. So let me do my special introductions to welcome my very beautiful and smart and talented guests. And these wonderful people are all the first group I invited from the latest live virtual National Publicity Summit put on by Bradley Communications. So I'm delighted to have you here. So here we go. Welcome to the Creativity Show, where inspiration sparks the flame. AKA RadioRed on her Scarlett Mic welcomes creatives at the top of their game. The Designs of Creativity, that's our episode today, and you all know why, takes our spotlight today where form meets function and bold ideas light the way. Wave when I call your name, Ariel Vox. Wave hello. Beth Leeds, wave hello. And Ellie Potter, wave hello. Join RadioRed for an exciting tableau. Unique personalities who may change what you think you know. At our round table, you'll hear what's on our mind as resilience, imagination, and innovative passions align. And here we go. Ariel, you're first, and I hope you enjoy this. From Bulgaria's classrooms where bright minds did grow, young Ariel loved learning, her curious mind all aglow. With puzzles, books, and pupils, she imagined in her care teaching math and language with a passion bright and rare. The night sky called her softly, Ariel, Ariel. Each star she came to know, constellations whispered dreams that helped Ariel's spirit grow. Through music hall she flourished, a pianist on the stage with drums and bands and duets that danced through every age. Then computers sparked her journey. Designs began to flow. From graphics to interiors, new creative seeds would grow. Now a magician, author, speaker, her fearless voice rings strong. Ariel's a true creative where brilliance leads and limits don't belong. Ariel, I hope you enjoyed that.
Wow, this was amazing. I loved it.
Glad.
Thank
Well,
you so much,
You're
Red.
welcome. Welcome to the show. Now, Beth, it's your turn. Listen up. From California sunshine, where Laguna waves would play, at 7, Beth took bold action. I will fix this, she would say. A stop sign rose by morning where danger once had been, a lesson learned for life. When called, just bravely step in. Curious about the airbrush, she turned T-shirts into art. From fairs to JCPenney stores, she built her heirlooms brand, quite smart. Rainbows, palm trees, and unicorns in vibrant colors bright. With 100+ designs, Beth has filled the world with light. Beth opened Millibee Treats, a vegan haven where flavors meet. Carob fondue delights with fruits and cookies sweet. Now an author, artist, dreamer, her inspired action shines through. Beth joins us now to show us all, yes, you can be creative too. Beth, I hope you enjoyed that.
Oh, I love that so much. You got it.
I'm glad. I'm glad. And now, Ellie, it's your turn. Here we go. From Bulgaria's past, where Beatles' songs taught her English sound, young Ellie learned words with care, new meaning all around. Her father's rule, write words 100 times to make them stay, is a lesson she'd embraced with time, though not at first, not her way. Through global tech at Autodesk, where bold ideas take flight, Ellie helped imagine better worlds through innovation's light. A diary from 1991 revealed a dream she held inside to write a book with purpose strong, to teach and be a guide. Inspired by great voices urging service beyond self's call, and stories of true courage that remind us we can rise from all. Her role modelship book proves values lead to what we become. Ellie powerfully raises the bar for all creatives, not just some. Ellie, I hope you enjoyed that.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Let me finish up now. So gather around where the cool kids and the cool vibes sway as we dive deep into creativity today. AKA Radio Red's energy is lighting the way. We hope to inspire you to live large, love life, and play. Ladies, how did I do? What do you think?
Yay!
Yay! Thank you very much. I appreciate that. The sun is coming in through the blind, so you'll see little dots up and down my face until it moves away, and I've done my best. So that's what happens on Monday afternoons. I'm delighted to have all of you, and I hope you appreciate how I introduced you, but I appreciate you bringing me your stories because
Yes.
just to our viewers and listeners, I don't ask for bios or media kits. I ask for an origin story. And the origin story is, where'd you come from? How were you raised? What were your favorite things to do? What were the lessons in life? Who inspired you? Who influenced you? What's your path along the way? What kind of creativity do you have? So that's what I asked for, and that's why, because that's how I craft those special poems for you. So let's go around the table. Ariel, I'm putting you on speaker view. I know in 12 lines I couldn't possibly have described everything about who you are, but I captured that top note. So why don't you tell us a little bit more, and then we'll go to Beth, and then we'll go to Ellie. So I'm putting you on speaker view and officially welcome, Ariel. Go ahead, please.
Well, I've always been a very curious person. When I was a child, I wanted to be an astronaut. And also, I wanted to play the piano. So when I was 13, I moved to the city so I can study the piano. Then I finished university, and then I moved to England as well. Yes, I became a graphic designer in England. I had to start as a carer because that was the only way for me to work legally. But then it happened that I just loved the care work, and I became a trainer of manager, then a manager of two very big companies. And then when I was at the top of my career, I discovered magic. So I had to go into magic. It was a life choice. Because I had another job offer, which was a higher level job, higher level management. And I was either going in this direction or magic. And I just thought, if I don't do magic, I will regret it until the end of my life. So I created 4 magic tricks of my own, which is very uncommon for a female. There are not many female magicians, but female creators of magic is even rarer. And the tricks just sold like hot bread. I mean, one of them sold literally in one day. The whole batch of magic tricks sold in one day. Then I started my own business. Then I became an author. I have books now. I help people. So that's me.
That's me. That's a lot. I didn't ask you to prepare, but could you do a magic trick for us later on the show? If you have anything, what do you
I
think?
would love to, but I do need to be a little bit prepared.
Okay, that's fine. Well,
Maybe next time.
maybe you know what? Maybe I'll invite you on another show and you'll just pop in and do a magic. Would you like to do that? I
Yeah,
could
that
have
would be lovely.
the magic corner featuring Ariel. We can do that. We can do that. Remind me at the end of the show. Thank you so much. Delightful. And you know what? I've asked guests in past years how they define creativity. We talk about courage. We talk about curiosity. We talk about confidence sometimes. We talk about all of the words that describe who you are. You got out of your own way. You jumped out of the box that people might have said you should be in. You saw things that inspired you, that excited you, that made you curious. And you said, I'll regret it if I don't do this. Very impressive, Ariel. This is what creativity is. This is it. And you know, when I go to the summit, people say, oh, I'm not creative. I don't sing. I don't dance. I don't draw. Who cares? It's got nothing to do with that. It's how we live, how we create the life in the time we have. Question mark, exclamation, exclamation. Thank you, Ariel. Very inspiring, delightful to meet you. And let's go to another inspirational, courageous person, Beth Leeds. I couldn't wait to get you on the show, Beth. I'm putting you on speaker view. Why don't you tell us a little more about heirlooms and about your restaurant and stop signs? Go ahead, Beth. Welcome.
Well, Aloha Red on the Creativity Show. I'm right here and I'm ready to go. Inspiring to take action is my goal. It's good for us and it's good for the soul.
That's lovely.
Aloha. I'm so happy to be here. I started out actually when I was 7 years old in 1948, when I got a stop sign put in at a dangerous intersection. I cut through red tape at the city council. They said, oh no, it will take 3 months. Well, I said, okay, then I'm going to sit there at the corner so no one gets hurt. That very next day, the truck pulled up. They dug a hole. They put a 4x4 in with a red stop sign on it, and it's still there. Wow. I have a wonderful life because I love life. I'm inspired to do things and to act. I can't help it. In 1952, when I was in occupied Germany after the war with Army of Occupation, I met General Eisenhower, and I actually had a one-on-one with him in person. Because I was very active as a child, he asked the general sitting next to me, is this the little girl you were talking about? He grabbed me by the hand and took me over to a bench. He said, how do you know so much about Germany and Germans? I said, well, I lived out in the country with my mother and father. I played with Germans every day. They told me that they were afraid to go to restaurants because the servicemen had to wear guns. I said, I think that you should make the servicemen be allowed to wear, not uniforms, but their civilian clothes. He said, do you have any more advice for me? I said, yes. I think the military should clean up the rubble with the Germans. Holland cleaned all theirs up. Within 3 weeks, he did it. He implemented my suggestions. And from then on, I've been knowing that I could do anything I wanted. All I had to do is raise my hand, and there it was.
And there it was. Beth, I want you to, before we go to Ellie, I want you to tell us about the day you were intrigued with airbrushing and you went to a garage sale and you said, do you have an airbrush and machine? And they said, you're standing right next to it. You didn't even know what it was. Just tell us, just briefly, Beth, how did you get involved with the airbrush business? It's very interesting. Go ahead.
Well, my friend was doing airbrushing at car shows, and he would airbrush people that had special little cool cars with their heads sticking out of the thing, and he would do it would be like a cartoon. And so I saw him airbrushing, and when he wasn't using the airbrush, I go, can I pick it up? I picked it up and I sprayed through doilies on my t-shirt. That was the first thing I did. Actually, the best thing I ever did, I airbrushed my daughter's white horse's mane and tail. And that
a real horse. Beth, this is a real live horse?
Her actual white horse. I airbrushed. Well, actually, I was airbrushing in order for J.C. Penney's, and the horse tried to come into my studio. So I used the airbrush psh, psh, to shoo her out. And I got a little paint on her. And I thought, I could airbrush rainbows on her mane and tail. And that was in the 1970s.
Wow.
It became a famous horse.
Which is it? We know the famous horse. Is there a name to the famous horse?
Well, that would be for someone else to figure out.
I think I already have. I think the ladies have too. We're taking a silent guess on the famous horse. Beth, thank you very much. It's delightful. You're a delightful lady. And when I met you at the summit, I said, "Oh yeah, she's coming on the show." Thank you, Beth. And I love your look with the fringe and the chartreuse. It's a very beautiful color, very sunny color. So thank you. I've got lines all over me here. Dots, dots, dots. Ellie, welcome to the show. I'm putting you on speaker view. We'd love to know more about you. Go ahead, Ellie.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. So I'm a technology professional, 30 years in Silicon Valley tech, and you'll be surprised how much creativity there is in products and in software. So I would like to say I've been influenced by people and amazing companies and amazing products in my creativity. I don't think creativity is a solo act. I really think it's when you get bright mind solving problems. The DNA and the idea that gets sparked is what teams really carry forward. This year for me is all about giving back. So I'm really here to help people, inspire them to be better than themselves. As Katie Couric says, inspire them to commit to something greater and give it back and pay it forward.
That is beautiful. Tell me about your book, please.
My book is Role Modelship, Multiply Your Impact to Influence AI. In this day and age where AI has taken over our lives, a lot of people don't realize that the biggest building block of AI strategy is actually human role modelship, because AI is copying our habits. And we used to talk about processes in companies and simplifying and rationalizing processes. We don't talk about that anymore because that's out the window. AI is basically executing the habits that humans do every day. And our example, the example that we set, is the most important piece of the AI strategy.
Very well put. I don't know if you know, but I have a show on Wednesdays called Technology Revolution, the Future of Now. And it's a three futurist panel, and we talk about the future of an industry or a creative genre or a global trend or a business niche and AI. Only positive, only opportunities, only benefits, no doom and gloom. Go cry and yell about it somewhere else. But I have to tell you, Ellie, I don't know if I told you this when I'm trying to get out of the sun here. I don't know if I told you this when I met you at the summit, but I'm an early woman in tech. I was a programmer analyst back in the key punch mainframe days on a Xerox Sigma 6 CP5 mainframe, and I I could key punch handwrite over the weekend about 1,000 to 1,500 lines of COBOL code, come in Monday, key punch it, and have it running in production by noon on Monday for my job. And I worked for some big organizations on the West Coast of the US. So I understand what you're talking about. I appreciate it very much. I didn't know I was an early woman in tech till somebody told me. I said it wasn't that early, but I was invited to be the kickoff speaker 2 years ago for International Women's Day, March 8th, by the organization called Women in Big Tech, and I showed them a slideshow of what a mainframe computer looked like, of what a key punch machine looked like, of what an 80-column card looked like, of what green bar paper looked like, and they said, "What planet is she from?" They couldn't process. Most of them hadn't even been born yet, obviously. So it was very interesting. So great respect for what you do and the background. So you and I have more in common than. And I will tell you that when people say, "Oh, computer programmer, you have to know math," I say, no, you start with a blank piece of paper. You have a goal and outcome that is the project. You have to figure out how to get from A to B using the right language and the right syntax and the right format and the right structure and get there with the goal of delivering information to people who need it. And that's the goal. And if that's not creative, Ellie, I don't know what is. I don't know. I really don't. So thank you very much. Ladies, I have to give you a round of applause here. Let's see if I have an applause track here. Here we go. There we go. Can you all hear that? I just had, let me make it a little bit louder here. There you go. Okay, that's for the three of you. Thank you for okay, show's over. No. Okay, let's go to the part of the show where I've asked each of you for a fictional quote from a movie or a TV, fictional character or a song lyric that you're going to relate to your own creativity. I've done my research here. Ariel, I'm starting with you. You've picked a quote from the movie Leap Year, 2010 romantic comedy film. The character is Anna Brady, played by the beautiful Amy Adams. Let's see now. Amy Adams and Matthew Good. I remember him from The Good Wife. He was a lawyer on The Good Wife. Very interesting looking guy. Anna Brady decides to travel to Dublin to propose to her boyfriend on Leap Day, as the Irish tradition allows, but a series of mishaps befall her and the man she's traveling with, Declan, who owns a pub, and they develop feelings for each other. Interestingly, it made almost double the production budget. So even though it didn't get good reviews, it made a lot of money. Here's the quote. When my 60 seconds came around, I realized I had everything I ever wanted, but nothing I truly needed. Ariel, this is a deep quote. Go ahead. Go. This is something to think about. Go ahead. Why don't you, while I run out the sun here, why don't you tell us what this has to do with your own creativity? Go ahead, Ariel.
Well, the whole movie was about Anna intending to propose to her boyfriend. But the moment she met him, when she reached Dublin after all this series of misfortunate events, he actually proposed to her in front of all of his colleagues. But then in the conversation during the party, she realized that he proposed because it was a question of status, and the only way for him to get the job was by getting married. And then she remembered what Declan told her, that if you trigger a fire alarm, you have 60 seconds to pick only what is most important to you. And I will never forget this moment. That's my favorite moment out of all movies I've ever seen. She triggered the fire alarm and she was watching Jeremy silently to see what he's going to pick. So he picked his laptop, his phones, and his work documents. And then she realized that she received everything she ever wanted, but nothing she actually needed. And this has been significant in my life, because sometimes the biggest blessing is when life does not give you what you want, because you don't know what is good for you and what is not good for you. And sometimes the moment you get something, you're happy for a moment, but then after some time, after some years, you see that actually did not bring you long-lasting happiness, whilst the moments of difficulty often bring you the long-lasting happiness. And just explore life with curiosity, because at the end of life, people don't regret the things they did or did wrong, but they regret the things that they didn't do, the
Very well put.
opportunities they didn't take because they were scared.
Yep, all the shots you missed because you didn't take them, right? Opportunity.
Yeah.
Well, you're certainly living where you're seizing all of those opportunities, that curiosity. There's a phrase in one of Leonard Cohen's songs, a famous phrase, something about it's the crack in the door, the crack in the window that lets the light in. And when I was mentoring some younger women in corporate years ago, I would say, if you see a crack in the window or the door is just a little bit open, kick the damn door open and see what's on the other side. Lift that window and let the light in. Find out what it is. Maybe it's something that you will enjoy, something that will benefit. Maybe it's something you won't choose, but find out what it is. Let the light in, let the air in, and see new opportunities. I think that's what it's all about. That's a beautiful quote from the movie. I was a stringer reporter for Newsday, Long Island newspaper years ago, and they hired me to do some personality interviews just before a major election. This was just before 9/11. I mean, like 2 weeks before 9/11. And I had to come up with some nonsense questions. Beth, you'll get a kick out of this. And I was asking 3 candidates running for Long Island, New York offices, not national, not big time. And one of them was, Ariel, if you had to leave your house with a box It was 14 inches by 14 inches, and you had to leave in 30 minutes. What would you put in the box? Another one was what's your spirit animal? What animal would represent you? Another one is if you could be a car or a superhero, what would it be? They love these, and they sent me with a photographer. But I remember one man who is still in government in New York, and I think he's in the U.S. Senate now. I said, "What?" I won't give a name. I followed his career a little bit since I'm not in New York anymore, and he called his wife and he said, "Honey, there's a reporter here. What would I put in a box? I swear to God, what would I put in a box if I had to leave the house right now?" And she told him what would go in the box. I thought that was absolutely charming, but not what I was looking for at all. So, Ariel, you brought back a memory. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Before I get all mushy here, let's go to Beth's quote. Beth has picked a quote, a classic from the movie Legally Blonde, 2001 comedy film. And Beth says she is the third. She says she's Legally Blonde Part 3. Elle Woods, the lead character played by Reese Witherspoon. I looked at a clip of the quote, Beth. She was so young and so adorable and so much littler than we see her now. Just absolutely adorable. This is an iconic line. I'll give the line a second. She's a fashionable sorority queen, a little on the fluffy side. And during her first day at Harvard Law, she runs into her ex-boyfriend, Warner Huntington III, in the hallway. And he's surprised to see her there. And he asks, "You got into Harvard Law?" She says, "I go here." He said, "You get into Harvard Law," to which she responds, and here's the line, "What? Like it's hard?" Okay, Beth, how did you pick this for your I love the quote. Beth, how did you pick this for your creativity quote, and what does it mean to you? Go.
Well, what? It's hard. No, it's not. Because it starts out with raising your hand, seeing something that's happening. Legally Blonde 3. Now, what I did one time, I went to a Senate lounge and had a cup of coffee right before I was supposed to meet a congressman who was on the Appropriations Committee, and I was fighting offshore oil. I sat at my table, and right next to me, two men sat down, and they started saying, "When do you have your appointment with Congressman so-and-so?" And they said, "In a half an hour." I looked, mine was in 5 minutes. I listened to what they said. Then when I went to the congressman's office, I gave my presentation, which is usually something really beautiful, a beautiful picture. And as I walked out, Columbo style, I said, "Oh, one more thing. Are you meeting with two oil company guys in a minute?" He looked at his thing and he said, "Yes." I said, "Do you want to know what they said about you at lunch?"
Beth.
Yes.
Beth, you
I
didn't.
told them. I said, "He doesn't do whatever. I have to work with his aide because he doesn't do anything." And they said, "We're going to cave in on this bill because this other oil company took credit for it and we did all the work." He said, "Call in the photographers." Then when I went to the appropriations meeting, which nobody else was allowed in, but I had given the guard at the gate a sandwich from my purse because he was hungry, he let me in. I was the only citizen in the whole room of 800 people. When they made up their mind and they said yes or no, the Appropriations Committee, they voted my way. And I figured, was it because he told everybody what they said about him?
You have a powerful way of interacting with people, Beth, and you obviously pay attention to the little sidebars, to the little notices of what's really happening, what people are saying and what they're thinking. Thank you for that very interesting story. We got a powerful lady over. I'm there. Powerful lady over here. There you go. Thank you, Beth. Ellie, let's go to your quote. This is another very powerful quote. Ladies, you really outdid yourselves with the quotes. This is from Dory, the forgetful regal blue tang, voiced by Ellen DeGeneres. And we all know the movie is Finding Nemo, 2003. Was it really 23 years ago, Ellie. My goodness. Animated comedy, drama, adventure film. Let's put all those genres together. Produced by Pixar Animation for Walt Disney Pictures. And the voices of Albert Brooks, Ellen DeGeneres, Alexander Gould, Willem Dafoe, and Jeffrey Rush. What great voices. The story of an overprotective clownfish named Marlin, who, along with the forgetful regal blue tang named Dory, searches for his missing son Nemo. Along the way, Marlin learns to take risks and come to terms with Nemo taking care of himself. And here is the line: just keep swimming, swimming, swimming. What do? We swim. Okay, Ellie, what you got? What does this mean to you?
Yeah, that's a really powerful quote for three reasons. So, first, I grew up in a culture in the 70s where I was told that women are not allowed to drive and they're not allowed to swim. So, I didn't learn how to swim until I was in my 40s because I truly believed that it wasn't good for me. So, if you think of any obstacle that you're told you're not allowed to do, and swimming is a good one because you're literally fighting for your life if you're not able to swim. You can extrapolate that to anything, including technology. So the physical reality of you have to swim to survive is super important to me. The second reason is I find that the words that we say are the words that we wear. And wear is an acronym. It means words, emotions, actions, and results. Because the words we say cause emotions, those emotions cause actions, and those actions cause results. And so whatever it is that you're telling yourself, or in my case, I do a lot of coaching for executives, and I use this expression a lot. Whenever you're stuck, just keep swimming. Because creativity and the creative current doesn't just exist in a vacuum. You have to find your way to it. And the third reason is they win as a team. And winning as a team is one of my favorite motto because you can't win alone in creativity. And finding those opportunities where you can collaborate and get people to actually help each other is what role modelship is about. And Dory is not trying to be a role model. That's the beauty of it. Not even trying, just setting the example that should be followed to the next better place.
That was beautiful. I think I just got a webinar on Leadership 101 and Creativity 101 from all of you. But Ellie, you have a way I can see why executives would trust you and would value you. You speak from agency. You speak with agency and with knowledge, but there's a calmness the way you develop. I'm going to give three of you a tip here. No disrespect to anybody, but there's an AI dog named Coco Doodle.
Oh.
Find her on Instagram. It's a young female voice. It's a woman holding a microphone to her. COCODOODLE, Cocodoodle, one word. And the scripts are so almost corporate, Ellie. It's about systems, it's about structure, but it's about the dog. You know, he was there and he was sidling up to my owner there, and she talks about the food has changed, and it's not just a reward, but it's part of the system. The system has changed, and there are no more toppings on my food. Somebody has very cleverly worded. It's maybe a minute and a half long. There's a whole, my family turned me on to these. You've got to go find them. It's Coco Doodle on, I'm pretty sure it's on Insta I'm pretty sure it's it because I don't use TikTok. And, but the language is something you would very much appreciate. They're very well done. It's not a little puppy saying, "Oh, mommy, I want to go out." You know, this is an adult talking through a girl's voice through the dog's mouth, and the mouth does move appropriately. That's why I think it's AI, but just gorgeous. Anyway, thank you all for the quotes. You really picked interesting quotes and important quotes. And isn't it nice that we have places to go where we can grab those quotes and say, this is a mantra, this means something to me? Because how many other people have seen and heard those quotes and what they mean? We recognize that. That's our shared creativity, right? Is seeing somebody thought of it, somebody put it in a script, somebody read it or acted it, and there it is. And we say, oh, that speaks to me. Isn't that the lovely part of shared creativity? I just came up with that. I usually say that on the show. There we go. Okay, ladies, before I get all mushy here, let's go to our creativity statements. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to pick one or two from each of you. I'm starting with you, Ariel. I will read the statement. You don't have to go find it. And I will ask you to unpack it. Okay, I'm not going to read the whole thing. This one was long. I like number 3. Don't look for it. And then I'll ask you to unpack it, take 2 or 3 minutes, and then I'm going to ask Beth and Ellie if it means anything to them, if it resonates with them, or if they disagree. You can disagree. Just be nice. Okay, so here we go. And then I'll do one for Beth, and then I'll do one for Ellie, and let's see how the time goes. We're doing very well on time. So Ariel's number 3 creativity statement is, I love when sparks of ideas strike unexpectedly, igniting my mind, my emotions, my creativity in ways that words can hardly express. And then you go on to talk about your book, Crack the Luck Code. So why don't you, you say, I was able to hear my creative voice, its message otherwise would have been lost in the noise of my normal fast-paced life. So why don't you unpack this for us, Ariel? Tell us a little more, please, and we'll see what the ladies have to say. Go ahead.
This is a very interesting story, actually. It's how my book was, the idea of my book came to me. I was at the airport on the 4th of April 2024. So 444. And we were already boarding. And then suddenly I have 2 phones and both of them started playing up. Something went wrong. And I panicked because, all of your information is on the phone, and suddenly both of them are not working. So I thought I've been hacked. So I panicked and I started resetting the phones, changing passwords, and instantly, I don't know what happened, instantly both phones started working perfectly. Apparently there was some kind of fault in Facebook's system and everything went back to normal. But in this very moment, I look ahead and I see the door, the gate is closing. Literally, if I woke up from my dream state 10 seconds ago, I would have been on the plane. But I missed the plane and I was right next to the door. And I was sitting at the airport. I had to pay for a new ticket. It was a big price. And I was so upset and annoyed with myself. I literally hated myself in this moment. And suddenly I'm thinking, it's 4th of 2024, 444. There is something here. There are 4 phases of the moon, and there are 4 cardinal directions, and there are 4 elements, and 4 stages in life, and so many more. I had a whole list of 4s. But I was so annoyed with myself. I literally sent myself a message because I didn't want to deal with it right now. And after a couple of months, I'm sitting at the cafe and they give you a fortune cookie. And my fortune cookie said luck. That's the only word it said. And instantly something like sparkled in my mind. Luck is 4 letters. And suddenly I remembered the message I sent to myself. So I run back home and suddenly the whole idea of the book was there. And this is such a unique concept. I feel blessed. It didn't come from me, it just landed on me. So I love this. And I have a lot of songs that came to me in a dream, or my poems. I never believed I could write a poem, especially in English, because English is not my native language. And then I have 2 poems, and all of them literally in 10 minutes. I wrote them in 10 minutes, maybe less, and I never made even a single correction. They were just perfect the way they came.
Yes.
So
I'm going to read a couple of my poems at the end of the show today. But if you'd like to read one of yours, if you have it handy, Ariel, we'll make time for that.
I have
Okay.
it, yeah.
Thank you very much. That's a lovely story. And the fact that your mind said 444, it was right there. You didn't have to see it. It didn't have to matter to you, but you were looking for something. And when all of a sudden this confluence of elements came to you, you made something out of it. That's the creative mind. It's what can I make with this? I'm in a bad situation. Oh my God, what happened? But let's do something with it. That's, crack the egg, you make an omelet. Okay, there you go. And I've done that the wrong time, cracking the egg. And I said, well, there's a whole bunch of them in the carton. I could just take the shell off and I have a 6-egg omelet. And it was really good. Nothing that, never mind. Okay, thank you very much. Ladies, any comments, Ellie or Beth, about what Ariel has shared? Anything? About the numbers, about the opportunity? Ellie, has this ever happened to you where something was just right there and you just grabbed it out of the air?
I totally believe in that, because the swimming example, you're swimming through the universe and maybe you're swimming through unknown territory and you stumble across this creative current. And guess what? If you were on shore and you weren't swimming, you're not going to connect with this creative current.
There you go.
So I totally believe that when you are in the zone, and whether you call it the universe or the muse or whatever it is that you believe in, you tap into a completely different level of energy that's not available to you. And then creativity is effortless. And you look back and you say, I don't know how I did that.
Yes.
And that
That's the state
happens
of
to
flow.
me
Yep.
all the time.
That's the state of flow. You have to let it in. You have to let the window, lift the window up, let the door. Beth, anything you want to say briefly about that before we go on?
Yes, well, back in the day, one of my favorite sayings was in the flow. I'm in the flow. Be in the flow. Be here now. And so when something happens like that, when something unexpected happens, I look and I go, where do I fit in there? And maybe it's because I'm taking a different turn. Maybe what I thought was what I was going to do, then all of a sudden something unexpected happens. It leads me in another direction. Doors open. And if those doors don't open, I climb in the window.
I kick it open.
Love that.
There you go. Thank you very much. Ariel, great conversation starter. Thank you so much for sharing. I love the airport story. Now let's go to Beth. Beth, your creativity statements, you pretty much told us about all of them. So I'm going to pick something else that I want to know about, and I think the ladies will appreciate it. Beth, I asked Beth how we know how she learned to airbrush and what she wanted to do. And she went to the art store and bought the brushes and the bottles, and then she was in business. Okay. Beth says, my clients are art fairs, high-end boutiques, rock and roll musicians, movie stars, and J.C. Penney's. I airbrushed in their store for over 18 years. Beth, seriously, how did you get a clientele like that? What do you have any examples to show us? Who are the rock musicians? Are you free to tell us?
Yes.
Can you dish?
Well,
We want to know. Tell us for a couple minutes. Go.
I was at a fair in San Francisco, and a man came up to me and he said, "Can you airbrush rainbows on my white jacket? I'm going to be an MC for the Star Wars crew." No one even knew what Star Wars was. This is right after they made the movie. It was not famous or anything. So I said, "Yes, I will." And I decided that instead of airbrushing rainbows all over his jacket, I would airbrush a little rainbow inside his jacket on the pocket so he could open up his jacket and show that little rainbow, and it would preserve his white jacket to be something he could do. He invited me and my daughter and my son to that very special closed meeting only with Star Wars cast. It was the cast party. We went and met them, and it was really exciting. And from there, I met Bill Graham. Someone was there from Bill Graham Presents in San Francisco who did all the famous shows. I met rock stars through him. I traveled with him with rock stars airbrushing backstage for the rock stars family and their kids while they were out in front. Once in a while, I'd run out in front, see what they were doing, come back. It was very exciting. And, it just happens if you're in the right place at the right time, and you don't even know if you are until it happens. And then take advantage of it. Have fun. Be friendly with these people. Most people are afraid to talk to important people. But I learned when I met with General Eisenhower that they want to know the truth. They don't really get to talk to that many people because
Real
most
people
tell them what they want to hear.
There you go. Beth, quickly, how did you get into the J.C. Penney stores? Was it one particular store where you live, or was it multiple stores? Just tell us.
I was painting at a fair, and one of the J.C. Penney's people came and saw me and stayed there for an hour. They got my card, and the next day they called me, and I airbrushed for 18 years all over in hundreds of not hundreds of stores, but hundreds of times. In Northridge store, I airbrushed over 200 times. They kept inviting me back. I didn't even have a contract. They just would invite me back as an artist. I came, and they told me that when I was in their store airbrushing, their sales went up 15 to 20%.
I love it. Beth, you're a star. You are a creativity star. Seriously, that great story. I knew there was a story I knew there was a backstory in there. Ellie's nodding. Yeah, we wanted
Yes.
to know that. Thank you very much. Fascinating. Any comments, Ellie or Ariel, before I move on? I think you're just all appreciating what she said. Yes?
Oh,
Yeah,
Beth is a
Beth
Beth
is
is a role
amazing.
model.
Yeah. Yeah. She's a living role model of it's not even right place, it's
Thank
right
you.
time. Beth makes it the right place and the right time.
Mm.
Beth, you instigate this is the right place, this is the right time by your kindness, by your generosity. Oh, I'll airbrush this. Oh, you need me to do this? I'll do it on the inside of your jacket. Oh, thanks for the invitation. Oh, by the way, you were just showing people your brilliance and it was glowing out from you. And people said, I want to know her. I want to be part of what she's doing. You gave off that, oh, we got a thumbs up here. You gave off all right, go away. You gave off that electricity. That's where I'm convinced that's where it came from, Beth, that creative energy you radiate. That's it. Beth radiates. That's it. Okay. Thank you
Yeah.
very much. I figured the word. Okay. Let's go on. I'm going to Ellie's statement. Ellie, this is a different approach than we usually have on the show, and I want to make sure we get it. And you mentioned it before a little bit. You say, when I create, I'm most alive creatively when I'm in the company of people who think nothing like me. Kind friction and improv is fuel. The moment someone challenges my mental model from a completely different vantage point, that's when something worth building begins to take shape. I bring the
Yes.
technologist, the ethicist, the founder, the frontline worker, the data scientist, the storyteller into the same conversation. I hold space for the mess until the multiplication happens. Creativity isn't a solo act, it's a contact sport with a conscience. Ellie, tell us a little bit more. You started this before, but I'd like to go a little deeper, please.
Yeah. Well, I think the best example right now is what's happening with AI. There's so many executives that can't really hold the space for the innovation. They want everything to be centralized. They want it to have an ROI. They want it to be perfect. They want the outcomes to be known. That's not how creativity works.
Nope, it's
And
messy.
so these are the conversations I have with all executives is creativity happens on the edges. It's not the executives that are going to sit in the room and come up with something. It's the people on the front lines using the product day to day, talking to customers, understanding pain points. So you bring that creativity from the edges in, and then it bubbles up and you really create hackathons and centers for innovation, but allowing for that mess to happen, that's the beauty of it. It's really hard to describe that to people that want their ROI on day 30th.
Yep. Return on investment, ROI, the good, we love our KPIs and our ROIs, right, Ellie? There you
Yes.
go. Those are the rules you live by in corporate. Okay. Thank you very much. Anything we have a couple minutes left. Beth or Ariel, anything you want to say to Ellie? Anything about bringing different minds together to see what that mess is and then the spark
Yes.
that
Well,
comes? Go ahead.
it's true. It's so true. Sometimes when I'm going to an event where I'm going to be talking at a podium, on the way there, I stand in line. The person next to me, I say, what would you say if you were me? And they said, well, I'm really interested in filling that pothole. I think they should just go out and do it or whatever. And then I would use that as what I say. Sometimes I have something planned that I'm going to say to inspire people, to get them into action. But then I realize, like she said, from the edges, they have the answer. I just am the vehicle.
Yep.
So whether it's me talking or someone inspiring me, the goal is to inspire people to say, oh, I like that. Oh, into action. I want to make people smile when I'm talking with them.
Thank you. Lovely. Ariel, thoughts? Go.
Yeah, when
Those are the lenses, right, Ellie? The
yes,
lenses of life experiences. You put Ariel and Beth and me and you in a room and see what we would come up with. It would be a surprise to all of us. Absolutely. And that's what we're doing right here. So, what I'd like to do is move to the final part of the show. I have some creativity quotes. Got about 5 minutes left. I think we can do this. So, let me read a couple quotes to all of you and see if these resonate with you. This is from Lucy Maud Montgomery, who is the Canadian author of Anne of Green Gables. She wrote the book in 1908. Do the math. That was a little while ago. And the chapter 19 from which this quote comes is titled, and I love this title, A Concert, a Catastrophe, and a Confession. Can you think of a better chapter title than that? Honestly, seriously, it should be a song. And here's the quote, and I think it will resonate with all of you. Something just flashes into your mind, so exciting, and you must out with it. If you stop to think it over, you spoil it all. Is that cool? Is that
That's
what we're?
exactly what happened with my 444.
That's
That's
right.
exactly what
Exactly. Didn't want to spoil it. Here's a quote from Rapunzel, the Tangled, the 2010 3D computer animated musical adventure fantasy comedy film. I don't think they ran, I think they ran out of, it didn't have sci-fi or tragedy or action in there, but it's every other genre. Mandy Moore voiced Rapunzel. Here's the quote. Venture outside your comfort zone. The rewards are worth it. Right, ladies? Is that true or what? Okay, Beth, I hope these are resonating with you. Here's one from the Rolling Stones, 1969. You all know the song. You can't always get what you want, but if you try, sometimes you'll get what you need. Right, Ariel? There you go. And this is from Glinda, the Good Witch of the North, played by Billy Burke from the 1939 original Wizard of Oz fantasy film. And the quote is, "You had the power all along, my dear." See, didn't we all? There you go. So let me go down. Let me see. I have time for this one more quote here. This is from David Byrne, the rock star who was the frontman for Talking Heads, the rock group. And he was interviewed a couple of years ago about what are the little beginnings for being wildly creative. And here's what he says. You're already more creative than you think. You just need to pay attention to your ideas. Sometimes he says, David Byrne, have a title of a song that comes to me and I write it down and I go, expand on that. I think there's something there. And I have in my computer a whole lot of musical, maybe a melody, a nonsense word, awaiting words, but usually I need something to start with. It's hard to start from nothing. I accumulate these very little beginnings. And when I come back, I've got something to build on. I keep that quote because I just think it's so valuable. Our minds fizz with fragments of ideas, puzzles to ponder, clues on how to fix a problem. That's for Beth. Most of us undervalue that chatter. Writers and artists systematically capture the little beginnings. There you go. So now I'm going to read to you an acrostic. Ariel, I belong to an online poetry group at writersdigest.com. I'll send you the link. And every Wednesday we get a prompt from the moderator and we write in all different formats. I don't do rhyming anymore. I've gone through about 20 different formats and I don't have time to read the latest one, but I'll tell you after if you stay on after the show. And I like acrostics. So here we go. Here are the acrostics. The prompt for July 24th, 2024 was night shift. Write a poem about night shift. So I took the letters NIGHT, SHIFT, and I made an acrostic. I'm going to not show it to you on the screen because my notes are messy, but I'm just going to nod in when I get to each letter. So here we go. And I dedicate this to the three of you lovely ladies. Never quite really at rest. It's the life of a creative, going, gripping, gyrating, growling, groaning, growing, highs and lows flowing on a mental Mobius strip. The days are the nights are the days again, shifting off and on into and out of gear, hoping for unique brilliance even once. It's a calling, command, curse, roller coaster, finding eureka, euphoria amid frustration, fears. Thus is the life of the creative. I hope you enjoyed that.
Love it.
I'm glad. And I have one more, a silly one. This prompt was, I don't have the date, but it was, I think, the same year, 2024. The prompt was write a blank like blank poem. So I just took the letters BLANK, LIKE, BLANK, and this is cute. Believe in love always. Never kiss a leprechaun in a kayak. Every boat's like a nervous kangaroo. There you go. Beth, you could have painted that on something for me. So I'm ready to close, and we have about a minute left. Ladies, I hope you'll stay afterwards and we could talk a little bit, and I'll read you one of my other poems. So I closed the show in 2014, that's a little while ago, with the top 10 tips for women. And number one predates the movie that happened last year. I think you all know about the movie Barbie, but here's the tip about aspire to be Barbie. The biatch has everything. There you go. Okay. And the number, let me see. What is this? Okay, number 5, when life gets you down, put on your big girl panties and deal with it. And one more, don't get your knickers in a knot. It makes you walk funny. There we go. So here's the real closing. Life is short. Break the rules. Ladies, yes, don't we? Okay. Forgive quickly. I haven't learned that one yet. I don't know if I want to. Kiss slowly. Definitely. Love truly with all your heart. Laugh uncontrollably. Everybody laugh with me. 1, 2, 3. Not bad. Don't hurt yourself. And never regret anything that made you smile. Final words. Work like you don't need the money. Dance like no one's watching. When I taught disco and high heels on a table on the top of a Formica table in a high school cafeteria in Eugene, Oregon, I never fell, but boy, did people watch. Sing like nobody's listening. I didn't sing tonight. And love like you've never been hurt. We all have. Let your heart regroup, regrow, regenerate, and learn to love again. It's wonderful. Money talks, chocolate sings, la. And last but not least, I stole this line from somebody years ago. Thank you for turning me on. Let's go out with the music from my brand new show. Let's see. Say what? Here we go. Say what? Join me. I do this show live every weekday. It's 4 minutes long. YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook. Say what? Just a couple of good news stories, some famous birthdays, and oh, there you go, Ellie, raise a glass. Morning coffee, decaf, please. Had to make my own mug. I've had enough. Same old drama, same old feed. Flip that dial. That's what I need. Let the bad vibes fade. Ellie, I created this song in Suno, by the way. Hit play. Good news. We talk it out. Let's lift that mood. Good people doing what they do. Thank you, ladies. You've been wonderful. I'm akaRadioRed. Have a say what kind of great day.